Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. I hope you all are having a great new week here, wrapping up 2023. We're heading into a great new year here. It's going to be really awesome. This is the part where I ask you guys if you can hear me. Okay, I'm hoping you can. Yeah, just somebody put 5x5 in the chat down there. All right. 5x5. There we go. JT's hooking me up. I appreciate it. Guys, I think I got Steve Holland coming. I'm not sure. All right. He was at the live stream last week at the Leatherwood Distillery. We had a good time, good turnout. I was supposed to have Travis Hall from Second Chance Canine on tonight. And it was at a request of one of my patrons, Kevin Fryer. And we've decided, because it's right after Christmas, we're going to wait a week. So next Tuesday, we will have Travis Hall, the Special Forces medic, military working dog handler, the founder and head guy at Second Chance Canine. He will be here live in the studio, right? Our studio. Not much of a studio, but it's what I got, right? It's what I got. So they'll be there next Tuesday. I hope everybody will stop in and visit with us next Tuesday. So anyways, got a great show planned for you tonight. Whether Steve shows up or not, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Indeed. So where would you start with? First off, I want to thank tonight's sponsor right here, Venture Surplus. Their motto is "Venture brings the Army surplus store to your door." So you're looking to get old military stuff like all the base layer polypropylene cold weather clothing that all the Marines and Army guys wear. That stuff's awesome. That's what I wear when I'm hunting. I've actually got an old medium sized kit bag. It's a black kit bag. If you don't know what a kit bag is, you probably weren't in the military. Kit bags have kind of replaced duffel bags. But I have a medium kit bag. In other words, not the largest size aviator one, but the other one, next size down. Black, so it matches the inside of my Jeep, and that's what I keep all my cold weather clothing. And it's got my 300-gram insulated boots. It's got like 4 sets of gloves and hats and different base layers and 2 complete sets of clothing. If my wife is riding with me on a long trip, I stick her boots in there also. But at a minimum, it's got cold weather gear for the people in the Jeep. And where do I get all that stuff? Now, my Silent Gore-Tex is Mossy Oaks pattern. I got that stuff, believe it or not, from Bass Pro Shop. Thank you, taxpayers, for buying that, by the way. But the rest of that stuff is all military issue stuff that you can get from Venture Surplus. So check it out, venturesurplus.com. I want to thank them for sponsoring. And they're like, yeah, hey, Carl, we're going to sponsor you next couple of months. We love what you're doing. Cool. I love that you love what we're doing. I love it. I really do. You'll see me messing with my phone here. If you have legitimate questions for the live stream, that's the whole point of a live stream, right? For me to be able to get you guys up to date with what's going on in my life, but also so that you guys can ask any questions so we can interact. That's the whole point of doing a live stream. So if you have a legitimate question, just put it in the chat room. If you want to click the super chat button and share some holiday cheer with all of us. It'll pop up a nice, pretty colored icon, and it'll guarantee that question gets picked. But if you got a legitimate question, just put it in the chat room, and one of my moderators, Miss Britcher, on the other side of the planet in Australia, she will, she'll actually send me a picture of it. Like, these are ones from last week. We haven't had any come in yet tonight. That's all right. It's all good. I got people texting me already letting me know, hey, Carl, I'm watching your live stream. Here's one right here. Thank you, Susan. Right on cue. First one is from Without Further Ado. Carl, do you know Travis Haley? I do not know Travis Haley. Understand, guys, the internet is a big place. From time to time, I meet these other social media influencers at different events, SHOT Show, wherever. I've never met Travis Haley. honestly don't know anything about him. I heard he was in the military. I couldn't tell you what branch he was in. I don't, and there are Green Berets that do like survival stuff online and just strictly survival stuff, and they're awesome. I watch a lot of their stuff, not on YouTube, but Instagram, stuff like that. But I don't know any of these guys. I don't, and so yeah, I don't know Travis Haley. So what I have seen is like in live streams and comments on our videos that Travis Haley did this better, or Travis Haley did this worse, or Travis Haley this, Travis Haley that. And some of you guys love this guy, but others of you completely cannot stand him. My opinion on that is, have you ever read our comments on some of our videos? And what you'll see is there's a lot of people that like the Tactical Rifleman crew, but then there are other guys that completely cannot stand us. They cannot stand us. They hate me. They swear that this guy's never been to combat and I'm like, okay, you know, my DD-214, that's right there, by the way. No, you can't zoom in, and you'll see that my social security number is didacted. But guys, you can go through here. It's continued on the second page. And I've got over 70 months of overseas and combat pay. And the lady typing that up, she was an E7, and she's typing up my DD-214, and she's like, "Sergeant Major, no wonder your wife left you." And I'm like, my wife didn't leave me. And she looked up and she said, "Well, she should have." And I was like, okay, note to self, I need to be more polite and loving for my spouse. And you'll hear us say the toughest job in the military is a Green Beret's wife. And indeed, they have a very, very hard job. So my whole reason for saying that is I don't know Travis Haley. I've not met him. And I do not judge people by what other people tell me. I don't. Because you understand, if I did that, I would hate so many people that when I finally get a chance to meet them, they're really awesome. Or I would like so many people that when I actually meet him in person, I go, you know, that guy's a fraud. He's a total shitbag. So what I've decided to do is, I give everybody respect till you give me a reason to not respect you anymore, and then it's very, very hard to get my respect back. So, don't know Travis Haley. I don't know if Travis Haley knows me. I don't, but I do not know Travis Haley. All right, let's see. Susan has sent us a couple more. All right, Carl, where did you get my neon sign? Karen, sorry, I went the wrong way. I actually got this from Jamie. You remember Jamie, Karen, and Toby, her husband Toby. We went to the Jeep invasion. Karen and Toby Harrison are two of my patrons. They also Jeep lovers. And my nephew, Jamie, nephew-in-law, you've seen him on here when we did Coffee with a Cop. Jamie is a big fan of you guys, of the Tactical Rifleman family. He enjoys being part of that Tactical Rifleman family. And anyways, he got this for me a few months ago, and he loves his patches and everything. He gets all these cool things. And my wife was reminding me, you know, hey, you understand you got to hang that sign up somewhere, or you're going to hurt Jamie's feelings. So I was like, you know, you're right. I'm not going to hang it in the man room, but I sincerely, I like the sign. I'm not against it. You know, everybody's got great war stories, and everybody tries to outdo each other. And but you'll hear people say, "But did you die?" You know, and I know guys that they'll be telling a story, and then they finish it up, and then I got shot right in the face and I died, and that's how you know he was pulling your leg the whole time. A good example of that is, you know, everybody was sharing war stories and everything. We were out somewhere, big class, and everybody was asking Chad Moorman. You guys know Chad Moorman. He's our dark arts instructor. So driving, combatives, when the agencies in Virginia want to learn the dark arts, when Marsoc wants to learn dirty fighting, they bring in Chad Mormon. So anyways, everybody's like, hey, Chad, tell us a war story. You know, because like Emery had told one, I told Randy, everybody's told war stories. Well, Chad starts telling this war story, and the whole time I'm like, you know, this is weird because like Chad never opens up like that, you know. And Chad just starts going on. Now he's got everybody like, he's a great storyteller. And Chad, I mean, everybody's on the edge of their seats. And then, and then you reach the point where you realize he's telling the story of First Blood, the first Rambo movie about John Rambo. You know, he's literally telling the story about how he was, you know, walking across the bridge and the cop arrested him. You know, he just came back from Vietnam and everything at his field jet. Chad was telling, and like everybody believed him. And that's funny stuff, right? That's funny. So, yeah, good stuff. Karen, I'm glad you like the sign in the back there. Truly, I do. All right. Got another one coming in. This one is from Billy Heaton. Susan, can you ask Carl if he has any experience with CCI 22 long rifle quiet ammunition? I don't know about the quiet ammunition, but CCI is famous for making great 22 long rifle ammo. Some of the best mini mag shot shells, like Rat Shot, are CCIs. So if you've got a little 22 long rifle revolver for like snakes and stuff, like while you're out canoeing, you have a water moccasin drop into your canoe, it's kind of a traumatic event. So you carry 22 Rat Shot. That way you don't put a big hole in your aluminum canoe. You put a bunch of little holes in your aluminum canoe. Duct tape, you're good. But I have a lot of experience with CCI shells, CCI 22 long rifles. I used to shoot their subsonics all the time. I have, matter of fact, that's a rifle right there. That's a Ruger 1022 with a suppressor on it. That's my squirrel rifle. It just happens to be leaning up against the wall here. I don't know if you guys can see it down there, right? See it next to the trash can. It's got my, it's got the suppressor on it, but yeah, that's what's in that. That's what's in that gun right now is CCIs. Steve Holland, of all people, and this was years before Steve started doing the live streams. Steve told me that this old mentor of ours, Mr. White, you guys will hear us talk about Mr. White all the time. Mr. White told Steve, every payday, you should buy a brick of CCIs. What he was talking about was a brick of, you know, a sleeve of 100 rounds of 22 long rifle ammo. And if you did that every payday, at the end of the year, you'd have 1,200 rounds. But that, you understand, you're only shooting so much. But after your 20 years in the military, you would have quite the stockpile. And you understand when the electronic financial world goes all the hell in a handbasket, which you notice they're pushing more and more for electronic currency. And don't get me started on New World Orders, all that other stuff. Guys, understand we have enough problems with them just being normal. They can't even be normal, all right? But eventually this financial card castle that the world has built, it will come crashing down, and you're going to find that heavy metals is where your investments need to be. Heavy metals, you know, gold. You'll see I push Acre Gold, stuff like that. Gold, silver, but ammo is also a precious metal that you need to invest. And some of us invest very highly in it. So, yeah, when it comes to 22 long rifle ammo, I'm a big fan of CCIs as a brand. I love their subsonic ammo. I don't know if they have like a new one called Quiet. Honest, I don't. What you understand, guys? The only way to make a bullet subsonic, right? Because it's rifle, it's a 22 long rifle. It's supersonic, and that's that crack. That is the noise part. The crack, the crack, the crack, the crack. You got to get rid of that crack. So the only way to get rid of that is to slow it down so it's no longer breaking the sound barrier. It is subsonic, sub-sound barrier breaking. You do that, you're taking gunpowder out. The flip side of that, to make it hit harder, is you go with a heavier projectile. But again, now it's still moving slower, it's heavier, it's going to drop even more. But to a certain distance, you're still delivering decent weight, which equates to energy, all right? Mass. You can look up how to calculate that, but bringing that speed down to 1,110 feet per second, again, depends how high you are above sea level. It's hard to make that accurate when you're scaling such a small powder charge. But you understand, if you are one flake, one grain of gunpowder off, and you've only got 900 grains in there, 90 grains in there, like individual granules. I'm not saying grain as in weight. You guys understand when I say a grain of gunpowder, that's the weight of a paper clip. All right, there's so many grains in an ounce, okay? But you start taking individual flakes out when there's only so many flakes in that little 22 long rifle, you're throwing off your muzzle velocity a lot. You take a bigger bullet that's got, 900 or 9,000 little itty bitty flakes of powder in it. If you're one or two off, you're not changing your powder charge that much. So you get into 22 long rifle ammo, it really pays to go with better quality ammo. Aguila, believe it or not, Mexican-made stuff, good ammo. CCI, good ammo. Not too many other brands that I like there. All right, got a couple more come in. Try not to get too long-winded on you guys. This from Gordon Taylor, Carl. I find that both appendix carry and 430 hip carry are interfered by the seatbelt while driving. How do you concealed carry your firearm when you're driving, different based on vehicles? Yes, it depends on the vehicle. My Jeep, for example, has a seatbelt lever. The Suburban does not, but that little console thing right there, I just unclip that EDC appendix carry holster, and it literally, it's the correct, why? Because God loves me. My holster happens to be the correct width that it locks right there. And right before I get out of the vehicle, re-put it on and adjust it. When I'm in the Suburban, literally all I do is I pull it over the shirt and I actually put my seatbelt behind it. All right? Understand that depending on your girth, that's not feasible for a lot of people. That's okay. Just understand that the odds of you drawing in self-defense are very, very slim. The odds of you drawing while you are static in your seat are even slimmer. All right, your better chance would be like if somebody puts a gun to your window, you go like this, and then as you're undoing your seatbelt to get out of the vehicle, you undo that seatbelt and that shirt comes up the same way, right? You see what I'm getting at? All right, let them have the vehicle. Honest, you don't want to go to court and have some libtard prosecuting attorney appointed by Bill Gates have you serving time because you shot some carjacker. Just because I'd shoot the carjacker does not mean that you guys should. Sometimes I do not set a good example for you guys. I get reminded of that a lot. I need to do better, setting a good example for my fellow patriots. All right. Yeah, my Suburban, I just adjust the seatbelt around it. Some guys, depending on their belly, can conceal carry, appendix carry certain firearms better than others. All right. It is what it is. So it is what it is. Gordon, I'm not saying you need to hit the gym. I'm not saying you need to hit the treadmill. It's the holiday season. I'm not doing that. All right. Jeep and Jack, Carl, Precision Rifle 102 class. You guys can look on the calendar because I know I owe you guys a Precision Rifle 102 class. You look on the calendar, you'll see that I have not added Precision Rifle 101 to the 2024 calendar yet. And there are more classes coming for the calendar. Why have I not added that yet? I have not added it yet because last year when we were doing Tactical Precision Rifle 101, we did it at the range of Tiger Valley, Texas. And one of my reasons for paying so much to rent that entire facility is because when we get to the second day, I literally have got half the class shooting off the tower, unknown distance, past 1,000 meters, and I have the other half of the range on the known distance range, and they have a pit down there, an NRA pit with the target stand, but I don't use the target stands. What I use is the pit for moving target, doing moving targets back and forth the same way that the Army and the Marine Corps have done since World War II. You put privates down there in the pits, right? Their pit, even though after saying that they were going to do the maintenance for me from the year prior, they did not do the maintenance. Part of the pit was collapsed. Part of the tower, understand you're 4 stories up. Part of the floor of the tower was deemed unsafe by my instructors. So now we're not even being allowed to use the entire top of the tower. I'm like, I've turned the other cheek. That was my second time telling them. So we're not going back to Tiger Valley. I love the guy. It's got potential. And if somebody was to buy Tiger Valley and put some more money into it, I'd gladly go back there. But you can't double my rate to use a range and then not spend any of that money to make the improvements that me as a instruction company, training company required you to do. They didn't do it. So for right now, I don't have a range, a sniper range that will allow me to teach all of the subjects that I want to teach in Tactical Precision Rifle 101 and 102. I could probably get away with 102 at a couple of. That said, I actually have a nearby range. It's less than an hour away from me, and my only holdup with them right now is their classroom is not done yet, but soon. And once I bless off on it, I will be adding Tactical Precision Rifle 101 to the calendar. I appreciate your offer. I'm glad there's interest in it. But you know, like guys want to take High Risk Travel 2 because High Risk Travel 2 does all this dismounted counted surveillance stuff, and it gets into lock picking, and it gets into deeper into improvised weapons and using all these other different types of weapons, blah, 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 blah. Great stuff. Everybody wants to do it. But in order for me to do a High Risk Travel 2 course, I have to have enough people that have graduated High Risk Travel 1 and that are also willing to make those same dates, because I can't put it on the calendar multiple times. For those of you that have taken High Risk Travel, it's actually called High Risk Travel 1 for a reason. We are looking at possibly adding a High Risk Travel 2 course in December. What that would be is our High Risk Travel 1 is a 3-day course. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And what we would look at doing is putting High Risk Travel 2 right on the back side of that. And what that would do is everybody that's already taken High Risk Travel 1 could take it. And that way we already have the classroom rented. We already have all the instructors, all the gear, everything already there. It's cheaper than, plus also new people that want to take it could just do the marathon and do the whole 5-6 days straight. So anyways, one of my instructors for that course has been out of the country contracting in on the African continent. I won't say where exactly he was, and I won't say who it was. But that said, I've got to work out the dates with him and see whether he thinks it will be worth us doing it. All right. More coming in, and this one's from Scott Flowers. Hi, Carl, comma. Do you know if the U.S. military ever used 4x21 Seymour scope Mark Colt for the M16 carrying handle. 4x by 21 millimeter Seymour scope for the Colt M16 carrying handle. Honest, I'm not familiar. By the time you understand, my initial period in the Army, I came in 1985. My first time using a night scope on a gun besides the PVS-4, we also had what was called a PVS-2. The PVS-2 actually had black crosshairs. The downside of it was it hummed, but to me personally, it was a lot more accurate on the gun than a PVS-4 was. PVS-4 better on like the M60 machine gun, but on a M16, I was the designated marksman for my scout platoon when we were up on the DMZ. And so I actually had two M16s. I have a picture of me holding both of them, one with iron sights. I was a designated marksman during the day, iron sights, but at night I had my other that had the PVS-2 on it. And I loved that thing. I loved it. It was great. It took you 2 batteries to get through the night. But the PVS-2, besides the hum, it had nice black crosshairs, and it was awesome. As long as as long as the moon was up, it was awesome. But as far as optics, and I know the first red dots guys were used during the Sante raid in Vietnam. I didn't see red dots until the SOPMOD kit reflex sight for the M4. My whole time in the regular Army, we didn't have any optics. Now, we had optics that we ourselves would put on M16s. I've got some pictures from Desert Storm where I have a 3 to 9 Bushnell deer hunting scope that I bought myself. I had mounted on my M16, and you guys have all seen pictures of me with my M21. It was actually an XM21 from leftover from Vietnam. A lot of people don't know the 101st were the ones that accurized the M14 rifles, but that's what I carried in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. But as far as using low scopes like that, we went from that reflex sight to aim points, the M68 and the EOTechs, and then the ACOG showed up. We also had some Seymour red dots show up for some of our M4s because we didn't have enough red dots, and there were. I remember my warrant officer, my Chief Don Alexander, he was the executive officer for a company, normally a captain slot, but he had it as a warrant officer. He ran a Seymour on his M4, and he'd come out the sniper range with it. He knew his holdovers out to 300-400 meters. He was dead on, balls accurate with that M4. Don Alexander was a man. And I learned a lot from Don Alexander with just his red dot. Because you got to remember, at the time, Global War on Terror, I'm running a SR-25 Mark 11 at 3.5 to 10 power. So when all the assaulters were messing with all these little itty bitty baby scopes or ACOGs and some, LCANs, I had my 308 SR-25 Mark 11 and those were all Leopold Mark IV scopes, and they were great. They never let me down, So honest, I don't know. Do not know. Next question from the Peanut Gallery. Prepper 101. Carl, you need a haircut. You look like a hippie. Well, I thank you guys. I appreciate that. I've been thinking I was meant to get one before the holidays, so I would look a little better in church. But I didn't get one, right? And my barber, I like to give her a little extra money around Christmas. Maybe I'll call her tomorrow. How's that, guys? I'll try to have your haircut by next week, number one. Number two, if you are zooming in on me that much that you can see how long my hair is, you're probably also looking at my nipples on my t-shirt, and this is the part where I remind you that that's a little gay. All right, supposed to be here for the content, the information, the entertainment, but also I understand some of you are here to look at my nipples and tell me that I'm getting wrinkles and getting gray and I need a haircut. I got that. I understand, guys. I appreciate y'all looking out for me, trying to keep me looking good. I will get a haircut. All right, next one without further ado. Did Carl get anything cool from Santa? Actually, guys, I got a lot of great gifts. One of you guys, Tim Lorenzen, sent me this coffee cup. He sent it as an early Christmas gift. Mike Quigley sent me a bunch of different kinds of alcohol. This is actually Three Amigo Cafe Mocha. It's a tequila to put in your coffee. All right. I got a bunch of great gifts from family members. Santa. Right, my stocking, he gave me the same shit as last year, guys. I got it sitting here, but it's embarrassing. I'll get it out. Shit. More coal from Santa. Yeah. But you know, if you get enough of these little chunks of coal here, you can grill a steak over it. So a few more years of being naughty, and I'll be able to cook a steak. I did cook steaks, and they actually come in a 3-pack, guys. 3 packs of charcoal from Santa. Yeah, for those of you who have people that are naughty on your list, this is the correct size box for Santa to put it in your stocking. It is what it is. No, I got some nice gifts. For me, the best gift that I got this Christmas was hanging out with my family. Christmas Eve, actually the couple days leading up to Christmas, I had all these packages and stuff coming in from patrons. So if you're one of the patrons that sent me something, you know, I try to say thank you to everybody. I try to mention everybody by name. You know, thank you so much for everybody that sent little knickknacks and everything. I got coffee beans and chocolate covered espresso beans, and I got this and I got that, and that's awesome. Guys sending me books that they've read that they thought that I would like. Vinny, you know you're the man. You've sent me so many great things, and Karen and Toby. All right, everybody sends great stuff for us. And they think, hey, we want you to give this to Steve. We want you to give this to Randy. I'm all about it. I like playing Santa and delivering stuff from my patrons. But then Christmas Eve, we always do Christmas Eve. We go up to Mady and Tommy, who are, and both my mother and father-in-law have passed away, but they were the best friends of my mother and father-in-law, and they are like an extra set of grandparents for my kids, and you know, just been blessed to have them as part of our family. They invite us out to their farm for breakfast that day, and then we get back together. We did a Christmas Eve church service that night, and then we brought everybody back here, the whole family. We had a house full of people. I made homemade pizzas, and so while I'm doing pizzas and tossing flour and everything, and Italian sausage and throwing sauce and mozzarella, my Aunt Helen, she had her little, you know, the balls from the Christmas tree. She had bought a bunch of clear plastic ones. She had filled half of them up with Woodford's Reserve bourbon and filled the other half up with tequila. And she had all these different margarita mixes and all these other things. And I found that the watermelon margarita mix, it didn't taste like margarita at all, but it mixed awesome with whatever I was eating at the time. And just having family around me, and then a lot of the family, including baby Ada, they all spent the night here. My wife got matching pajamas for my niece Chastity and my daughter and baby Ada and everything. They all watched the Barbie movie while Jamie and we sat around my laptop. I was showing them old Army pictures, and because we were watching something, and I don't remember what it was. There was some martial arts movie on TV, and we were talking about, well, he's like, have you ever been over there? And I'm like, yeah, I was in Korea for a while as a private and everything. Been to Japan, this, that, and the other. I even snuck into North Korea as a private, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of people say they went into North Korea, but I actually have a picture of me standing in the minefield in North Korea. It's a long story, guys. If you want to hear the story, join Patreon and you can dig through story time with Carl. So anyways, that's how it started. Next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm showing Jamie all these Army pictures. And he's like, you really have done everything that's in every war movie. I'm like, no, but I got to do a lot. So, and it's all Keystone. It's all funny. It's all funny stuff. All my pictures are funny pictures. So Jamie finally gets to bed at 4 a.m. and Christmas Eve. Well, baby Ada jumps on the bed, wakes me and my wife Dana up at 7 a.m. to tell us that somehow Santa had gotten by the security system and he had left presents. Apparently he'd eaten all the cookies and eggnog and everything. So, and Woodford's Reserve. We get up, we had a great Christmas, exchanging gifts and everything. I won't bore you with the details, but then Christmas night, I grilled, my wife had bought a whole ribeye roll. That's how many people we had. And we had 2 leftover steaks, and my son had one and I just had one. My daughter helped me eat mine. They were even good leftover. Oh, those steaks were so good. Oh, I don't know how I did it, but they were perfect. Little Montreal steak seasoning, that's all they needed. Anyway, so again, the best gift that I got for Christmas was having my family wrapped around me. And if you think about it, guys, when you were growing up, what did you get for Christmas when you were 7 years old? What did your siblings get that same year for Christmas? And the reality is you don't remember, but what you remember is the fun stories that your family had. You know, the things that you did as a family, this, that, and the other. And those memories, baby Ada, getting to open all these presents. And then we got the babysitter again today. We've been having, me and my wife, we've been having fun with baby Ada here, visiting us indeed. We love having baby Ada here. Yeah, I had a great Christmas. Did I get anything cool? Yeah, I got tons of family time and I couldn't ask for anything better. Next one's from Consquatch. Tactical Rifleman, what caliber do you use for deer? It varies, depends what rifle I'm in the mood to use. This year I actually used a 6.5 Creedmoor shooting G9 Supermatch. And I'm here to tell you I shot twice. And the first one was a monster buck. And he went about 12 feet, fell over in the field. And about 7 seconds later, because the doe he had a big doe with him, kind of pulling security for him. And when the gun went off, she's like, "Oh snap, hunter!" And she ran, but she couldn't tell where the gun. Somebody had a suppressor on his rifle, but she ran straight at me, and she stopped about 10 feet away from me. No joke, 10 feet, 10 whole feet. Maybe 15 feet away from me. And she looked over her shoulder and she's like, "Where's Steve?" Steve wasn't there. Steve was laying down in the soybeans. And she just stood there. And I was like, that's a good looking doe. I mean, she was a big doe. So anyways, and she's broadside. So I shot her and at my Adams Arms P3, the one I did the video on, shot her. She ran straight at me and rolled and came to a stop right up against my stand. I was on a little tripod stand. I had these 3 cedar trees, and I was like, that's the perfect stand to sit in that wedge between the trees. Just wear stuff that's that color and you're invisible. So yeah, even though I got data on that rifle out to 800 meters, the furthest shot on that farm from that stand is 598. That's the furthest you can get there. I shot him at about 175, and I shot her at 15 whole feet. And but yeah, I hunt. Last year I hunted with 308. The year before that, I want to say was 6.5. I haven't hunted with Barrett yet. That's on my to-do list. A couple years before that, I had my daughter with me, and she had her little pink 5.56 with her. She's shooting federal little varmint rounds. Found boxes of them that were for the pink, the cure cancer bullets. That they had pink tips on them. The little ballistic tips were pink, and it was kind of cool. All right, let's see if I can find that picture for you guys. You'll laugh your ass off. Let's see, if you go to years, if you go all the way back to the beginning, surely somebody would have a picture of your daughter holding that blaster right there. That's the picture right there, guys. That's my daughter with her pink AR. Ain't that thing cute? Let me zoom in on that blaster. Ain't that cool? That's my daughter's, that is a Smith & Bender low power variable optic. Yes, it's got a suppressor on it, and it's 5.56 gun. You can shoot deer with 5.56. You can. It's not the best thing to use. I prefer an adult cartridge, but my daughter does not have an adult cartridge rifle. She was little in that picture. All right, that was her first season hunting, guys. Not her most recent one. All right. Can't confirm. All right, I'm trying to get through some of these questions here. I think that one also. All right, next one is from Michael. No Zoom required. Michael, I just called the recruiter and spoke with Staff Sergeant. I go and meet with him Thursday at 0900. Any advice? I'm assuming Michael is the appropriate age to join the military. You'll see, guys, that right now the military is having a really bad recruitment issue. And here's why. It's because the politicians, you understand, politicians should come right between deer and turkey season, okay? But they don't, guys. And you understand the military has to have civilian politicians. Wow, I didn't realize how light that stuff was. Not much coffee in that. Whew. All right. But yeah, the military is having a problem because the politicians have forced all this woke bullshit down the military's throat. You understand? You don't want a military that is all flowers and lipstick. You want a military of pit bulls, of rabid dogs, and they have to be disciplined rabid dogs. But when it comes time to unleash them, you need to have rabid dogs that are capable of destroying whatever you cut them loose on. And don't get upset, guys, because understand this happens after every war. After every war, look at the uniforms, World War II. And Rick Lamb explained it really, really good. It happens after every war. Our uniforms at the beginning of World War II, and I use this as an example, they went to wool dress pants, no pockets, no cargo pockets. They were dress pants. That's what they wore in the field, literally. And then they added boots, and then you had to have you had to have leggings to go over them, and you had the airborne guys had to sew pockets, because that's not what anybody had back then at the beginning of World War II, because they want to turn the military into a dress military, because the only officers in peacetime that advance are your gentle officers that wear lipstick, and now they can wear that dog mask and they can change genders and all that shit. And our next conflict, we're going to take a punch to the face. We're going to get our asses handed to us at the beginning of the conflict. And then you guys will take the gloves off and you'll pull those angry sergeants that decided to stay even though all the lipstick people wanted them to get out of the Army. They're going to step up and they're going to save the day. And all your rednecks are going to join the Army again. And all your Southern boys, your good old boys, are going to join the Army again. And the U.S. military will kick ass again. But right now, there's a big problem there. The recruiting, they're having a big problem. Except the Navy, you know, because, you know, there ain't nothing but seamen on a ship anyways, guys. That's just the truth, you know. You know, they start off their boat with, what, 3,000 people on an aircraft carrier? 3,000 men and like 13 females. And at the end of the voyage, there's like 1,500 couples, you know, getting off the boat. You know, it's an old joke, old Navy joke. I got it from a Navy guy. Don't judge me. If you were in the Navy, that's fine. You know, you're still the one with the lipstick on your rear end, right? Yeah, I call it apple, right? But legitimately, the Army's having a problem with recruitment. That said, there's still good people in the military. There are. You go to 5th Special Forces Group, and you understand they have to get these sensitivity classes. They have to get their transgender classes, and they have to all sit there. Now, you understand these guys have got pocket knives and concealed guns, and they just got out of the shoot house, and they're having to do this mandatory class and sit there, death by PowerPoint, on how a man can really menstruate and how a guy with a female with 2 testicles can really change his mind, but still be on an A team. And they're all like, Roger that, Sergeant Major. Okay. And the whole time the Sergeant Major clicking is going, yeah, reading it verbatim. Or usually the Sergeant Major's like, Colonel, I'll throw up in my mouth. You have some captain doing it. I ain't doing it. Suck a dick, sir. I ain't doing it. And the colonel will have a major or a captain click and give the briefing. All right. So for all you guys, you pipe hitters out there that were in the military, that hate seeing what's happening to the military, understand there's still good people in the military. There are. There's pipe hitters in the military. There's pipe hitters in the military. But unfortunately, there's a lot of this woke bullshit that's being forced down. And it's hurting our military. It really is. It's hurting it a lot. It's hurting it a lot. Hurting it a lot. Is what it is. That said, but honest brother, if you're interested in going in the military, just understand when a dude walks up to you with pierced ears and he's wearing the skirt, saying that he's a female and his name's Jasmine and he's the new female in your infantry platoon, just smile and just understand that when your unit gets deployed to Crimea or wherever you're going, that he'll be the one you throw on the grenade. No big deal. No big deal. You got to have people like that. You've got to have them, right? Guys, I'm not bashing the military. I'm not. I needed the military. You understand, I was a juvenile delinquent as a kid, and I was going to prison if I did not join the military. I always wanted to be a Green Beret. I got to live my life dream. I found a career where I could go out, meet new and interesting people, and kill them, and make the world a better place. I really have. That's why God loves me. He really does. All right. Yeah, God truly does love me. I see Steve has pulled up, guys. So I think we got Steve coming in. All right. Always good to have Steve-O. All right. We're getting caught up here. I think that one right there. Let's see what we got. But yeah, Michael, best of luck in the military. The military can be a great career for anybody, without a doubt. Without a doubt. All right, next one. James Mays threw down $5 US. Appreciate it. Carl, have you tried any of the new battery-powered generators and solar panels to charge it? Battery-powered generators and solar panels to charge it. What I think what you mean is alternate battery supply, which is basically just a portable battery that's got the computer in it to gauge whatever it is you've plugged into it. I have one. We actually did a video review of it. Blue Yeti. There's another company, Jackery or somebody there, little porter, and they're great for just putting in the Jeep when you're going to do the Rubicon Trail. In California up to Lake Tahoe. I couldn't bring my off-road camper. My off-road camper's got lithium batteries in it. It's all wired, everything. Yes, you can. I do have a Blue Yeti that we did a video review on. I do have the solar panels to charge it. My problem with solar panels is here in Kentucky, it's been overcast for the last 3-4 days. You're not going to charge very well with solar panels here. When it's not charged, when it's not cloudy, like a lot of places I go camping, I am in the woods, in which case I do not have direct sunlight. If you're out in the desert, if you live in an area, Oklahoma, out west, anywhere like that, and you've got access to good sunlight during the day, solar panels are an excellent option. Get the biggest lightweight ones that you can afford. They don't have to be the roll-up. Mine are folding. They tri-fold. I don't remember what brand my solar panels are. I can use them on my camper to trickle charge that. But honest, it doesn't keep up with how much electricity I use out of my camper. Because I run the fan, the 10-speed fan all night long. I run the stereo system all day long. We're charging, and I'm running the laptops, and if I'm in the campsite. So what I end up using is I have a small Honda generator, the smallest one they make. I bring that with me, and I'll get 2 whole nights out of that generator. It's quiet. Try to run the solar panels, but as far as you using a small backup, it's good for camping. I would not rely on it though in a survival situation. That said, having it in your bag of tricks for shit hits the fan, it is an excellent option for everybody, especially if you live in suburbia where you're worried about somebody stealing your outside generator, especially if you have an apartment, stuff like that, because you can run a laptop, you can run a small fridge, but more important for me, I can recharge DeWalt batteries because when are you really going to need it? Let's say a hurricane comes through and it rips the roof off of the house. I here have a backup natural gas generator for my house. But let's say I didn't. If I was in your boat, right? The bad thunderstorm come through, mini tornado or something rips half your roof off. You've got to go up with sheets of plywood, and you can hammer a nail if you want. So it's so much easier to use a drill gun, guys. You got to be able to recharge those batteries because you're not going to get your 4 batteries, because you know only 2 of them are on the charger right now. The other 2 are on your drill and your saw. Yeah, you're going to need all 4 batteries. So having a way to recharge them really, really does come in handy. It really does, guys. I thought I saw Steve pull up. I could have sworn that was Steve Holland out there. Hopefully Steve will come in here in a few minutes. All right, we are getting caught up here, guys. We're getting caught up. Tabitha McKinney. Carl, how is Emery? I appreciate you asking. Emery is good. Emery actually, he just did a class with me down at Tier 1 group, and his back is doing better. Back ain't doing great, but his back is doing better. Sue LaRue actually just got back from Poland, and Emery went and hung out and spent Christmas with Sue, Sue's wife, and Emery brought his girlfriend there, and they hung out for Christmas and everything. I didn't talk to him on the phone, but I've been texting him back and forth, Merry Christmas and all that stuff. I'll show you the latest text I got from, it actually says Emery and Sue, and the last one from Sue says, thanks for ruining my Christmas, right? Because that's the kind of stuff I get from Sue. Thanks for ruining my Christmas. Well, you're welcome, Sue. If you're watching right now, I just know that that I love you, And everybody loves Sularu, just not that much. Not that much at all. Right? I think Susan just sent me another one. Let me get back over. Actually, that was Josh and Nicholas. Josh and Nicholas texting away, not realizing that they're dinging my cell phone here. All right. Real quick, while I'm waiting for more questions to come in, or I'm watching. If it's not Steve, I've got somebody else that pulled into the driveway out there. They're parked right at the edge of the light. I got two cars on the front. Maybe it's Steve. Maybe might be my daughter's boyfriend. He's a great kid. Andy's a great kid. We love Andy. All right. One thing I want to talk about. I want to ask you guys if if you guys had any great, anybody got any great stuff for Christmas. I see the chat room is. You guys have been going back and forth like the usual asylum does. And I thought about it. I was like, because I actually put it on, I got a list of notes on the computer over there. I don't know, you guys can't see it, and I know, but it's on my laptop right here. But it's also, I've got a monitors, one for security cameras, one for my notes. And I thought about asking you guys what you guys got for Christmas. We can't go back and forth. That's the cool part about Patreon. You guys hear me pitching Patreon. This is my shameless plug, by the way. We do story time with Carl. We do quick shooting tips. We do all that stuff. But for my silver star level patrons, once a month, we do story time. We do our monthly Zoom live stream. That is actually this month going to be Thursday, day after tomorrow. And this screen where you guys are seeing me is going to look like the Brady Bunch. You're going to have each of my Silver Star patrons. And the cool part is we all get to talk and see and everything. And everybody's going to get to share, all the great things that they got for Christmas, like the Kraken Tactical axe modeled after the old Filipino headhunter axe. Not actually designed for chopping wood. It's literally modeled after there was a tribe in the Philippines that had a special axe for head hunting human beings. And that's what this is modeled after. So, guys get to share. And we're going to talk about all the great stuff that people, we're actually doing an ugly Christmas sweater contest. I hope I'm not the only one that shows up wearing a sweater. But I thought, I'm kind of looking out. Mike Quigley asked if Emery has a girlfriend. Not really. Emery gets a girlfriend and then he loses a girlfriend and then he gets the next one and then he loses that one. And Emery's got the yellow fever a little bit. So he'll find somebody, blonde hair, blue eyes, and my family will love her. We'll go, Emery, we approve her, this girl. And he'll go, yeah. And then he gets the next one. We like her also. Emery, we approve of, and it's, yeah. Well, so anyway, Emery grabbed a local one and I don't want to get Emery in trouble because he might be watching right now. Emery and Allie, if you're watching, I had to think about her name for a second. Allie, if you're watching, my family loves you and you deserve better than Emery. How's that? You guys know I love Emery. Emery's like a brother of mine. Kind of part brother, part uncle for Emery. Try to keep the guy out of trouble best I can. Try to help him out, round his edges off a little bit. One thing, though, I want to talk about with you guys is, because you brought up Christmas, right? About why? Because it was yesterday. I've had some great Christmases, and it's never about what you get for Christmas. It's about the good times you have with family. And I understand family can be genetic. Your brother, your father, your sister, your mom, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, that's family. But also for us in the military, family is also your brothers in arms, your guys to your left and right. And I'm gonna put this over just a little bit here like this. So I had some really great Christmases, guys, and one of my favorite Christmas stories was, I don't know if you guys remember Desert Storm, right? Desert Storm started in January, all right? But before Desert Storm, it was called Desert Shield. Now, I was at my scout platoon 101st. We deployed in like August. Some guy named Saddam something or other had just invaded this country named Kuwait. And we went to this country where we got all our oil called Saudi Arabia. Everybody knows Saudi Arabia. Nobody knew who Kuwait was. We'd never heard of Kuwait. Nobody knew who Saddam Hussein was. But anyways, the whole 101st Division and the 82nd and all these, everybody rushed to the Middle East, and we sat there. We sat on our asses for basically 9 months, 7 months. But that was a Christmas that I remember sitting in Saudi Arabia, and I actually got a picture. Yeah, that is a younger Carl Erickson right there, Sergeant Erickson, and we lived in Bedouin tents the entire time until we got moved up to the Iraqi border. There's a little no man's land between Saudi and Iraq out west, not near Kuwait, and but I remember that Christmas because. Bob Hope, you guys, I don't know if you guys remember Bob Hope, but Bob Hope and Marie Osmond and some country guy, he had just wrote the song Proud to Be an American. I don't know country, I'm not a country guy. But they came over just before Bob Hope died. Because Bob Hope had done the USO trips all the way back through, Vietnam and everything. And he showed up there in Saudi Arabia right around Christmas time and everything, and got to go to that show. They wouldn't let Marie Osmond perform unless she covered her costume, I guess, didn't have sleeves on it, and the Saudis wouldn't let her wear it in country. As a female, she had to stay covered to her wrist bone. So she didn't play. She didn't even show up. We were looking forward to it, too. But they put on this huge Christmas dinner for us. And I remember the Christmas dinner, and I've got hundreds of these pictures. I remember there was these two females there, British. They were from Great Britain. There's four or five of them, missionaries, but there were two females, one brunette, one blonde. And they were there serving us food. And you understand, my recon platoon's in an infantry battalion, that's in an infantry brigade, that's in the 101st Air Assault Infantry Division, and we hadn't seen a female since July. So all of a sudden there's these two females there, and we're taking pictures of them and everything, but they're serving us food, and I remember them, but I remember the turkey was not normal Army Thanksgiving T-Rats. When there's turkey T-Rats, there are, and it's good. It's not bad as far as T-Rats go. But these were real turkeys that our battalion cook had somehow negotiated, had traded some stuff to get other stuff, to get like some of that Vietnam era stuff. Traded, made some Ho Chi Minh sandals to trade for this, to trade for that, to get that. Well, he got us fresh turkeys, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And Colin Powell shows up, and which I remember Colin Powell showing up, and he showed up with this other guy named, it was like Dick Cheney or something, right? I don't remember who this guy was named Dick Cheney. And okay. Right? They show up, they're serving and everything. It was memorable, all right? I got presents from my mom, presents from my girlfriend back in the States. She broke up with me a month or so later via mail. So all my calls back, it took 45 days for the mail to get to you, so I didn't get it no big deal. That was a mistake anyways. But the funny part about the dinner is the dinner was awesome. The dinner was glorious. But about 3 hours later, the entire brigade was combat ineffective with food poisoning, dysentery. I mean, the shitters, they're cut barrels because we had to burn shit. Not me, but the other infantry battalions would burn the shitters. They were filling up to the seat. You couldn't even put your seat on your ass on the. I mean, it was no toilet paper left. The whole brigade combat ineffective because of the fresh food that we had gotten. It was awesome, awesome stuff. That was one of my memorable Army Christmases. Fast forward, initial invasion of Afghanistan. We get there and we land at Kandahar Air Base, and Kandahar had just gotten bombed. Literally, the AC-130s had just bombed the snot out of it. The Marines had gone in and secured Kandahar Air Base, and we come in as part of Task Force K-Bar. Yeah, the Dutch Delta was there, the Kiwis, a few other countries, even the Jordanians had like an anti-mine crew there, and the Germans, which was their first combat op outside of the country since World War II, kind of neat, and great stuff, awesome. But we were no shit living in North Face dome tents, little 5-man tents. I'm a little sniper cell in there, but there was the actual what do you call it? At an airport, the terminal. The terminal was intact, and that's where like the command was and everything. They were there, but where we were, where A15 was, my SIF company, was this bombed out Russian hospital. I mean, like it's all crumpled down and everything. And we're North Face dome tents. There were a couple of rooms. The B team immediately took one, and each A team had other rooms to like stage gear and stuff. But we're digging through the rubble, and there's a part where this wall's collapsed. Well, we start moving stuff. We're digging firewood out to put in the fire pit that were, no joke, boiling water with firewood to heat our canteen cups to make coffee and heat up our MREs. Well, we're digging firewood out from underneath this collapsed wall, and they find this door. It's full height door, but you understand you got to go under to get to it. We open the door, and it's this room right here that's in the picture. It is, I don't know if it was like an old Russian commander's room or whatever, but it's about the size of a bedroom, and it had a no shit fireplace in the back of it. So we're like, man, we set up a couple of cots in there. I moved my sniper team in there, 3 of us. One guy had to stay out. I think he liked having that North Face dome tent to himself, his own personal spank palace. So anyways, we get firewood. We fire up the fireplace that night. And like, man, this is great. We're in there, and all of a sudden, you can't breathe. I mean, we're dying. We turn on the lights and everything. The wall is cracked. Remember, I mentioned that the whole building had been smashed. Well, the chimney is cracked in the wall, and it's letting all the smoke in instead of out. And we're like, dude, this was the perfect place. It would have been the perfect place. And so what do you do? Well, we're not leaving. We're not going to, we just not have a fire. And we thought about it, and it was like that day, 2 days before Christmas, we find this place, and come in, and Mark Baher, the seat you see me sitting in this picture, Mark Baher is a medic. He's standing on the chair, and he's got hydrogel. It's the gel we put on the back of our explosive chargers for sticking on the door. It's medical grade adhesive. It's like jelly, but it's double-sided, sticky. And it's because it's medical grade, it's $1 a square inch. Thank you, taxpayers, for paying for that. But we'd have whole rolls of it because we put it on the back of our door chargers, right? Well, Mark Barr's got a whole roll of 2-inch wide hydrogel, and he's just taping up the wall and everything to seal the wall. And I was like, dude, that's not going to work. It's going to melt and everything. He just kept putting layer after layer after layer after layer. And damned if it didn't hold. So Mark ends up sealing. If you look behind me, there's like a box of Oreo cookies. Right above it, you'll see a little black mark on the wall. That's the start of the crack. And just out of frame is a light blue mountain of hydrogel on the fireplace chimney there. But so that was our first night where we could have a fire and there's no smoke. We're like, dude, nothing could make this better. And you're always hearing C-130s landing and everything, right? Bringing us more stuff. And C-130 rolls in. Well, about 20 minutes later, we get the knock on our chunk of concrete outside. Remember, you had to go underneath it. And they're like, hey, mail call. That MC-130 brought bags of mail in from Qatar. We're like, really? Oh, okay, cool. We hadn't gotten mail. So we get these, and it's like little packages. My mom had sent a thing of her Christmas cookies. They're always good. They're always good. But, and I think I'd gotten like a couple letters from my wife, right? And she'd have pictures that my son had sent and everything. And my daughter was just born in 2000. She was a little over a year and a half old by then. But I was not expecting to get a package. And this mail bag, big, and the mail bags are like a yellow orange. And I get this box, like big box. And everybody's looking at me like, because everybody else got like little stuff. There's a big box in this thing. You know, Sergeant First Class Carl R. Erickson. And open it up, and I got from Susan here. Big Al's watching. How you doing, Big Al? I open up the box, and it's from my wife, Dana, but her and Helen, my Aunt Helen, had put together this monster box. And if you look up on the shelf in this picture here, guys, you see all these things of Folgers instant coffee and different kinds of cookies. And Helen had sent this big thing of crackers, different gourmet crackers. Helen loves her charcuterie trays and everything. Okay, fine, whatever. That's not my thing. But she had sent this big thing of smoked Alaskan salmon. And it's all in this golden tinfoil package. And I'm not really a salmon. It's not that I'm not a salmon guy. I never really had it. Well, I cut it open with a Spyderco knife and lay this open. And everybody's gathered around me. And we ate everything. I mean, every cookie. And we're making Folgers instant mocha, and just we had such a party Christmas Eve, and literally that package of mail showed up Christmas Eve night, and we're wrapping up the salmon and picking stuff out of our teeth and stuff, and I remember Jeff McLeod and Chad Kloppenstein was there. No, Chad wasn't there. Yeah, he was. Chad Kloppenstein, Jeff McLeod, Mark Baher, and me. We're sitting there, and we got the little electric trimmer out, and we're like trimming up our beards and making goatees and stuff, because you could never do that in the regular Army. And we're sitting there, and guys, they're all reading Christmas cards and everything, and they're like, hey man, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You remember we do night ops, so you get up. So anyways, we're sitting there and we're like, dude, it's Christmas Day, and that was awesome, guys. Just hanging out with my little sniper cell during the initial invasion of Afghanistan, when it was still cowboys, and then there was no KFCs and Taco Bells and no big bases, and Big Army wasn't there yet. The first platoon from the Rakkasans had just landed to help us out. Big Army had not ruined Afghanistan yet. It was awesome. It was really, really great. It really was. It was a very, very memorable Christmas for me. You fast forward from there. We came back from there, immediately went to the Horn of Africa, and we're in the Horn of Africa, and President Bush started his Stomp Through Humanity tour. We were going to go from Iraq, take over Iraq, dethrone Saddam. Then we were going to go to Iran, dethrone the Ayatollah, and then we were going to go to North Korea. He called it the Axis of Evil. That was going to be the Stomp Through Humanity tour. That's the plan. That's how it was supposed to go. But they didn't find Saddam. But we're sitting there in Africa, and we're sitting there, and the initial invasion of Iraq kicks off, getting ready to kick off. We're like, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it. Well, they kept pushing it back because they're building the coalition longer and longer and longer. We actually had time to redeploy back to the States for 2 weeks, let the wife do the laundry, and then we got sent back to Iraq for the initial invasion. Okay, kind of cool, right? Hence started the spiral of deployments in Iraq, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. But I remember I had this one deployment in Iraq that happened to overlap Christmas, and a lot of them overlapped Christmas. But I remember we had one, and you know how politicians, they like to come in and visit the troops around the holidays? Well, I'm sitting in Master Sergeant Erickson, and my snipers are off doing other stuff and everything. I'm stuck doing day ops, and the Sergeant Major Nash goes, "Hey, Erickson, you're in charge of doing the CSAR package for the VIP coming in. You got to get with the Secret Service guys." I'm like, okay. CSAR is Combat Search and Rescue. So in other words, they come in, wherever a VIP is going to be, the Secret Service will have the inner cordon. You have SEAL snipers, this, that, and the other, coordinated all along the route, but they come in by tactical aircraft into a war zone. They'll move by tactical helicopter flight. There'll be a row of helicopters. One of those helicopters is always what's called your CSAR bird. That is a bump bird. So in other words, if the helicopter gets shot down that has the package on it, the VIP, their job is to, no matter how bad the gunfight is, you land at the crash site, get the VIP out, and whether you open the door. And if you can't open the door, because when a bird hits the ground like a Black Hawk, a lot of times it'll twist the frame. The windows on the door of a Black Hawk, there's a little lever there. You just pop that little lever and the windows pop right out, piece of cake. And then you just pull them out through the windows, no big deal. The doors on, they get the pilots out, and the windows where the crew chiefs are. Long story short, I was put in charge. I had a couple other guys with me. I had this big SEAL, cannot remember his name, a couple other guys. And I had Tom Heckens with the sniper rifle, me with my SR-25, the big SEAL, a couple other guys, can't remember. But anyways, the VIP comes. I'll link up with the Secret Service guy now, and this is right at Christmas. The VIP comes in, and it turns out it's Dick Cheney, Vice President Dick Cheney, and he gets off. We're standing there. I took this picture, guys. I used to always carry one of those 35 millimeter wine camera. He's stepping off the C5 Galaxy, and he gets off, and I'm looking at him, and I know I gotta babysit this guy. You know, I gotta babysit him. But I'm watching him get into the Black Hawk, and you know that the Secret Service guys only do certain much, but he's also going to have a couple Delta operators that are staying with him. But it's hard to tell in the picture, but old Dick Cheney, he's a little more robust. He's got a little more gristle. Let's put it that way, than who we're used to dealing with. So they go to close. They're getting him to the Black Hawk, and I look at him, and Swan was his name. I look at the SEAL, and I'm like, take the pickup truck, go back. And Raptor Base, where we were at, was right across from Sather Airfield. That's where we were. That's where they landed the C-17. So we literally just had to drive across the street. I'm like, hey, go back to Raptor, get the quickie saw. He said, what do you need quickie saw for? I'm like, there's no way we're getting that fat rat bastard out of that little window. If we got to get him out of the Black Hawk, we got to cut him out. And he's like, oh, roger that. And he went back. So I've got another picture of us where, and if you look, sitting on the ground right next to the SEAL is the quickie saw, and with the diamond blade on it. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what a quickie saw is, guys, it's kind of like a chainsaw, but it's got a big round diamond blade on it for cutting things. Firefighters use them. Well, so do assault forces. It's got an Alice Pack backpack frame on it, so you can put it on. Anyways, obviously nothing happened, and that was it, right? Real easy, no big deal. But then, not to be outdone, like 2 days later, in comes Rumsfeld, and it's a repeat thing. I'm like, look, same package. Sergeant Major's like, hey, Carl, would you mind doing it? I'm like, Roger that, Sergeant Major, give me the same package, same guys. They know what we're doing, and he comes to visit the troops for the holidays, and it's kind of cool because we bounced from base to base, and we got to go to these different chow halls. While he was in meetings, we just hung out, and you're at a regular Army base that's never had a Green Beret there ever, and they're all in their pretty uniforms, and the Green Berets come in, and I've got a Punisher baseball hat on, my blouse is tucked in, I got my gun belt on, my safety line, and frag grenades and shit. And my SEAL is wearing a quickie saw on his back. We kind of looked out of place. But it was a fun trip indeed. But the cool part about Rumsfeld was I actually have a letter from Rumsfeld that he wrote to the Secret Service guys, to pass on to the Seesaw package from Raptor. He actually called us Raptor to thank us for doing PSD. But the cool part was he actually came back and he got up on the catwalk at Raptor Base, and he actually got to watch our assault force, our Iraqis, and with their American advisors doing runs in the shoot houses. Now I want that to sink in because this is basically your number 3 guy, right? Number 4 guy in the nation. And he trusted our Iraqis enough to get up on the catwalk. And you understand, Bush and Bush and Cheney were not going to do that. Funny stuff indeed, guys. Funny stuff indeed. Yeah, me and my kit that night running around with them. I was a little younger then, wasn't I? Yeah, a little bit younger. Anyways, I just figured I'd share a couple Christmas stories there with you. It's not about what you get for Christmas, guys. It is, it's what you do, what you remember. I want to say hi again to Big Al. I want to say hi to Wick, my buddy Wick, my brother Wick, my brother in arms. Wick is watching. And Wick, I love you. I miss you, dude. When you get back home, I'm looking at your Christmas present. It's literally right there wrapped, sitting in front of my desk. Wick, to Wick from Carl. You don't got to get me nothing. You owe me nothing. This is from my heart to Wick. All right, so don't get mad or nothing. You don't have, Wick, please don't get me anything. I miss my guys, I do. I'm trying to remember if Wick was there that trip. He was. Wick was there. Wick, you were there when Rumsfeld and Cheney came and visited. Yes, you were. You're not gonna weasel your way out of that. Wick was, because I actually was looking at pictures Christmas Eve night with Jamie. I was showing him pictures of a younger Wick sitting. Wick, I don't know if you remember. I want to say the War Pig or something broke down on target at night. We had to send a rescue out with the mechanics. Right at sunup, we went out. Jimmy Adams, Travis, Rolf, they were on the back of the Humvee. You were on the back of the Humvee. We had a SEAL behind a minigun that time. I remember I wasn't on the minigun for that. Oh yeah, I got some pictures of Wick back in the day. Wick back in the day. Man, it's so good to have you guys here. It really is. Susan sent me a couple more. Philip Wilson. Carl, how can we send care packages to troops that we do not know? One, you got to find somebody that you know that's deployed. An example of that is Rodney is his name. He's a neighbor friend. I won't throw his name out there because a lot of locals in that town don't like the guy. Super nice guy. People hate him because he owns everything in his town. He doesn't own everything. He owns a lot of stuff. They're jealous, so they talk bad about him. The guy's a saint. He gives so much money to charities and medical this and pays medical for that. But while I was deployed, he reached out to my father-in-law and said, hey, can I send Carl a package? And they said, my father-in-law, of course, said yes. And I was actually a sergeant major at the time. And he said, well, if I send him a big package, will he share it with the other guys around him? And my father-in-law said, not only will he share it, he's probably going to give it all away. So Rodney sent me not just big boxes, but like 5 or 6 identical boxes. And it's like all the best candy bars and beef jerky and just the best care packages you've ever had. They all show up. And at the time I was on Camp Liberty, and there was a master sergeant in the CHU next to me and all his privates. They were the personal security detail for the 1st Infantry Division General. And my packages showed up. As soon as I opened the first one, my father-in-law told me they were coming. I went and got this staff sergeant. And I'm like, come here, staff sergeant. And he's like, yes, Sergeant Major. I'm like, relax, put that Sergeant Major shit away. I'm not part of your chain of command, relax. I need your help carrying these. And he helped me. And I'm like, get a couple of your privates. He brings his privates over. They grab up these things. He's like, Sergeant Major, where do you want us to bring them? I'm like, I want you to bring them to your CHU, and I want you to hand them out to your guys. Take care of your stuff. So to answer your question, how do you give out care packages? You know somebody that has a private or a cousin or a brother or somebody that's deployed right now. And reach out to them and say, hey, can I get your mailing address? It'll be a APO address, Army Post Office. In other words, you ship it to an APO address. It goes regular mail, U.S. Postal Service, to that location. It is given to the postal general guy for the Army, and it is then shipped via Army aircraft overseas, and it is now in possession of the Army. It still is protected by all the rules of mail. Nobody's allowed to open it, violation federal law, blah, 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 blah. It's going to get to the correct person, but it'll be an APO address, either East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. If you address it to the correct guy with the correct APO, blah, 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 it will get to him. And depending on how much they're sending resupply aircraft over, they may get it right away. They may not get it for a month. But usually about 1 week, 2 weeks to get packages delivered. But please don't think I can get you addresses. Number one, and you understand, I don't have friends that are deployed right now. My old unit has a lot of people that are deployed right now. These are acquaintances of me, and it would not be correct at all for me to, number one, be giving out their address at all, be saying when they left, when they're coming back. You understand? I will not do that over the internet. Ask around. You know somebody that's deployed, or you know somebody that knows somebody that is deployed. All right. Guys, I'm sorry I fall behind on these. All right. Next one is from Scott Flowers. Hi, Carl. I remember you said you have dental training in Special Forces. Did you do any dental work on anyone? Yeah, I actually did a lot of dental work. My first one was my very first deployment to Kuwait as a Green Beret. Jay Johnson, you'll see him on live streams every once in a while. He was a weapons guy on my very first A-team. Jay had a filling fallout, and I'm like, hey, don't go to the embassy, don't go to the dentist. I can take care of this. I pulled out my dental kit and carefully cleaned it. I had my little battery-powered drill, and I had a little thing of IRM. For you survival guys out there, and you can get it at Walmart, or at least Walgreens, it's called IRM. It is a temporary filling. It is designed to stay in up to a couple of weeks, month max. So anyways, I made a big deal out of it, right, showing everybody else, right? This was 1990, 94, 95. Wow, it's a long time ago. But Jay got back. He actually went to the dentist for like his routine cleaning. He's supposed to do a cleaning every 6 months in the Army. and the dentist wanted to remove it. And Jay said, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I haven't had any problem. You're not removing that filling. I want to see how long it lasts. And he got years and years and years out of that filling. I think he eventually had it replaced, blah, blah, blah. But my point for saying that is IRM is a great tool for you to have in your post-apocalyptic medical toolkit. All right. But yeah, Special Forces medics had to learn lab, anesthesia, surgery, everything. Dental, we had to learn veterinary and all kinds of stuff. Because if you parachute behind enemy lines, you're working with like the French Resistance in World War II. You're it. You're all they have. You can't put that patient on a medevac bird and send them to a MASH site, not called a CASH site now, Combat Army Surgical Hospital. You can't send them there. You can't. So that SF medic had to be able to do surgery, which means he had to have another medic there to do anesthesia. And we would do not just IV anesthesia, we would do gas draw over. Holothane and fluorothane was the two that we used, mostly halothane. And I don't remember the dosages. I'm not an SF medic anymore. I don't remember that stuff. Dental, I pulled a bunch of teeth in Jordan. I even pulled wisdom teeth doing my refresher. Every so often we'd have to do our refresher medical training, but part of that was what was called a non-trauma module, field preventive medicine, how to treat water, stuff like that, but also work at the vet clinic one day. And then one day we spent working at the dental clinic, and I had one of my mechanics who was, he was an E5, a couple of our deployments. I knew him. Well, he became a warrant officer, a little Hispanic guy, Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican. I cannot remember his name. But anyways, he came back to 5th Group, and he happened to be in the dental clinic. And I'm like, with the dentist, I'm like, yeah, hey, I'll pull it. And like, nah, this is wisdom teeth. And like, all right, yeah, because wisdom teeth are way in the back. They're hard to get out. It's hard to get wisdom. But this guy was like, oh man, I'll trust Carl to do it. Sergeant, you're good. You're good, man. I looked at the dentist, and the dentist was like, have at it. So they were lower, which is easier because to numb top teeth, you have to actually put the needle up for each individual tooth. The lower jaw, you don't have to do that. You got the buccal nerve that comes out of the top of the jaw. Basically, if I turn sideways right about here, you got a part where your jaw goes like that. There's a little hole on the face. I wish I had one of my skulls here. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have one of my skulls on the desk, or I'd show you. But there's where you have one nerve that comes out, innervates this whole side, and then the other side, this whole side. So if you hit that nerve perfect, and you dig around with your needle till you feel it, you inject a whole carpujet of xylocaine right there. It numbs every tooth on that side and that half of the tongue. And yeah, you don't feel nothing. All you feel is the neck muscles straining, where I got the pliers in your mouth, pulling basically your whole skull out. And but yeah, they didn't break. Sometimes they break. They didn't break. I did good. Yeah, I'm not put on this planet to be a dentist, guys, but I've done some dentistry in my day. I've done some dentistry. All right. Wildflower. If you could ask about IR tracer rounds, I know they weren't introduced. Whoops, I accidentally deleted it. Sorry, guys, let me find it again. I know they weren't introduced until later than Carl's stint, but some things were used before public knowledge. Yeah, actually, I got an entire can of IR minigun ammo from Task Force 160th, cans 1,000 rounds. And, oh, that puppy was heavy too. It's IR tracer, but that tracer is every 10 rounds. The rest of them are all accelerators. Uh, Basically a tungsten carbide 5.56 projectile with a plastic sabot on it. But so in other words, every no, those weren't accelerated. I got those too, but those aren't IRs. All right, so these are IR tracers, but it's only every 10th one. That's why I asked for the whole can. So anyways, I pull all these IR tracers, and because I wanted to shoot them out of my SR-25, right, so you could see trace in the dark. Now back then I was using an M24. Anyways, what we found was they were machine gun grade ammo. They were not accurate at all. You're talking 8-inch shot groups at 100 meters. They were not accurate out of the M24s. So we didn't end up using them. But also what we found was about that same time, so this would have been 98, 99 time frame. That was when the Army started going from M118 sniper ammo that was 173 grain boat-tailed hollow point. No, boat-tailed full metal jacket, 173 grain boat-tailed full metal jacket. They switched from 118 to what's called 118 LR. The 118 LR had a 175 grain Sierra Match King, more accurate, less drag on the back. But the other added benefit of it, what we found, and if you look at, I'm trying to find a picture of my gun, one that you can see. If you look on my guys' guns, what you'll see is on the side of their guns, we have PQ2 IR illuminators. And what we would do with those PQ2 IR illuminators, because we had PVS 22 universal night sights, we'd clip in front of our Leupold day scopes. And right before we shot, we'd turn on that IR illuminator, started the assault countdown. You turn on the IR illuminator and it would put a dot of light out there big enough to cover the max ordnance of your round. And what we found was when you shot, that IR illuminator would reflect off of the back of that Sierra Match King bullet, because the back of the bullet is polished copper. And it was very, very easy to see trace in the dark. And now you still have accurate sniper ammo, but now you're still able to see it. And the people that say, well, you can't turn an IR illuminator on because then the bad guys can see you. Understand, it's a sniper rifle, and I'm not turning it on until the start of the assault countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, execute, execute, execute. 5, 4, 3, 2. The sniper shoot on the T and 2. The what in 1, the breachers blow the explosive charges, and then the assault force goes through the breach point on the E and execute. So I have control, stand by. When they start the countdown, 5, 4, 3, we turn on the IR illuminators on the foot of 5. Now, even if the guy's got night vision goggles on, right, he looks at you and goes, oh shit, what's that dot of light out there? Huh, that's IR light. By that time, it's already at 3, 2, and he sees a little flash. And that's it. The next thing you know, he's standing there. He's standing there, and St. Peter's on the couch going, you didn't see that coming, did you, Woodchuck? So the people that say you don't turn on an IR, I agree. Don't turn on an IR illuminator if you don't have to. But if you want to be able to see what your bullet's doing in the dark, so if you, let's say you were to miss, the bullet goes by, he's in a window, you shoot and you miss, he goes down in the room because you think you hit him, but your spotter who saw the trace go by and miss, you know, you're ready to high five because you just got a kill, and your spotter elbows you and goes, no, you missed 6 inches left, hold 6 inches right, stand by for follow-up. The guy goes down in the room because a bullet just hit the wall. He's not going to pop back up there, but he's going to pop back up at the next window. And when he does, you're going to see him, and now you're going to shoot again, holding 6 inches to the side. And then your spotter's going to high five you. It's going to be awesome. It is. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I love these Christmas discussions, you know, shooting people in the face, making the world a better place. All right. Next one is from Billy Heaton. He's back. Carl, I cannot train with all my kit on outside because I live right next to a store and major highway. So what would you suggest I do to train? Should I just go out in some random public woods or what? Train at home the best you can, but find local places with like-minded people. You'll find that there are groups that will want to shoot with you. You will find that there are groups that hold classes where people wear kit, where you're not. Like I go to Louisville Armory every once in a while, just visiting David Metz, the owner of the place, great guy. But I'll be standing there leaning on the counter talking to the people there, and guys will come in with plate carriers because they want to shoot on the range wearing their kit, right? A lot of Louisville Armory, they don't care. You're not doing anything wrong. I caution you about just randomly going out in the woods and letting people see you do training like that. Right? Find like-minded people, find a group, and surround yourself with people like that, and train properly. Right? Yeah. But you understand, you can sign up for a 5K run and do it like the Veterans Day run or whatever, and show up with I just spilt my coffee. Show up with your plate carrier on and say, you know, I'm gonna do this I'm wearing this extra weight for the vets. And you'll find that you may not want to run wearing all that stuff. Guys, I just spilt perfectly good coffee and I'm wiping it all over Steve's chair. Man, I hate to waste good coffee like that. Can't stand wasting good coffee. Can't stand it. Whew. That is good stuff, though. It's good stuff. All right, but yeah, don't let your neighbors see you being a nutbag. All right, because they will. They'll call the cops on you. They'll give you a hard time, and you don't need a hard time. All right. Next one is from Gordon Taylor. He's back. So, Carl, thanks for the motivation. I got my fat ass off the sofa and went for a walk with my wife. There you go, brother. Baby steps, baby steps. Gordon, you know I love you, dude. You know I love you. It was great visiting with you at Patreon. It's always great visiting with you. Guys, I put on some gristle myself. I do. I got the gristle. I got the gristle. I got it. It's the holidays. You're supposed to have the gristle. All right? I'm not beating you up, man. I'm not. You understand, it doesn't matter what other people say. I got people all the time on the internet in the comment section that say I'm fat. Okay, one, you're gay for looking at me. All right? Two, I got guys that say I'm too skinny. All right? One, you're gay for looking at me. But understand, guys, I'm 56 years old. My whole body's trashed. I know I don't have any muscle anymore. I got that. I can't lift weights anymore. My back is shot. My shoulder's shot. My elbows are shot. My legs are shot. My knees are shot. My back is shot. I'm just happy getting up in the morning. So it doesn't matter. My point, though, is it doesn't matter what people say about you. What matters is, can you accomplish the tasks that you need to do? And I have certain tasks that I have to be able to do. So most of my exercises deal with movements that are required to do those things. I have to be able to do pull-ups while wearing a plate carrier. Why? Because I've climbed a bunch of walls wearing a plate carrier, and I still believe that I may have to do that again someday. I may reach a point in my life where I may not have to climb walls anymore. Okay, but me personally, I don't want to accept that I'm not there anymore. I need to be able to shoot from different shooting positions. So I do gun yoga. I do gun yoga. If you don't know what gun yoga is, go look it up in our video archive. Z Durham's got a whole great video on doing gun yoga. And yeah, gun yoga is awesome. All right. Without further ado, hey Carl, have you ever skydived with a wingsuit? Nope. Guys, I don't. I've got a lot of halo jumps and everything, but where's a halo picture? I thought I had a halo picture here. Do I not? Here's one. Guys, if you that's Carl Erickson right there. Look at those. Those are aviator helmets, and those are Air Force oxygen masks we're wearing. I jumped old school. Old school. We did not do wingsuits. There's no reason for you to do a wingsuit when there's no reason to wear a wingsuit when you've got a rucksack between your legs and a sniper rifle strapped to your side and 2 oxygen bottles. You understand a wingsuit ain't helping your ass at all. So no, I've never jumped with a wingsuit, and I don't do skydiving outside of military ops. I'm not against it. I just don't do it. Without further ado, how does an IR round work? You guys understand how a regular a regular tracer works. I'm trying to see if I have any tracer rounds here. Like you don't have a box of stuff on all my old embassy badges and stuff. Trying to see. Trying to find you a tracer, guys. Case, telescoped ammo. I got a little bit of everything in here. Trying to find you a tracer. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Trying to find you a green tip with a loose tip on it. I actually have training rounds in here also that I like to pull out. If I had known you were going to ask that. Anyways, no, sorry. All right. You're a regular tracer round. All right. The bullet, instead of being completely filled with lead, is a little bit longer and has a hole in the back that they have filled with a combustible material. And basically, when the gunpowder explosion lights it, all right, pushing the bullet out the end of the barrel, that same explosive force lights the end of that tracer, and that visible tracer slowly burns for about 1,800 meters. All right, that's visible tracers. IR tracers are the same way. They're just using a chemical that only gives off light in the IR spectrum. It's not a little battery. It's just a different chemical that is only giving off light in the IR spectrum. So I am told. I've never actually met one while it's in flight. I've just watched them wearing night vision. All right. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. All right. Next one. Decent questions tonight. This one is from Harley Softail. Hey, Carl. Would you rather have a drone operator or a designated marksman in your group in a shit hits the fan scenario? I'd rather have a drone operator. Here's why. I'm the designated marksman in my group. My knees are shot. Somebody needs to run real fast and go throw the satchel charge up against the Bearcat. It ain't gonna be me. All right, I'll leave that for somebody else. But yeah, honest guys, you've got to have a drone operator in your group. If you do not have drone skills, just civilian drones you can get from Best Buy. If you do not currently have drone skills in your bag of tricks, I encourage you to buy a drone. Honest, they're fun toys to play with, with the understanding that, and it's a toy, but understand you can have fun with it out on picnics, filming the property, checking on your deer stands, doing whatever, taking great footage of your Jeep while you're out in Moab, doing great footage. But understand while you're playing with this toy, you are also training and building skills that hopefully you will never need. All right, but that's like training with a firearm. I pray to God none of you ever have to draw down on another human being. Seriously, I pray to God you never have to. I pray to God you never have to draw down on another human being. But that said, I encourage you to train, because if you ever have to, I pray to God you have the presence of mind the constitution to do it, but also the training skills and tools necessary to do it. Having the gun at home doesn't do you any good. Having the gun with you, if you're not trained with it, does not do you any good. All right. So have it. And drones are not leaving the modern battlefield, guys. They're not. They have been, drones have been a big part of the U.S. infantry and the U.S. military more and more and more. Special ops would use predator drones and prowlers, and we had smaller ones and everything. But the Marines would be using like called instant eyes, and I'm not big on them. I'm not big on an instant eye. But fast forward, we had these little drones. They didn't even fly. They had wheels. They looked like a dumbbell. They looked like a 5-pound dumbbell with a little antenna on it. There were wheels. And you'd throw this thing up on the roof because the bad guys like to sleep on the roof a lot. You could drive it around. It had a camera, but it also had a speaker and a microphone. And then you could drive it down the stairs into the house. And if they shot it, you could blow it up. And then you throw the next one. Well, fast forward, they now have those that fly with shape charges in them. Fly it up, blow a hole through the roof. I take the next one off my buddy's back, hook it up to the controller, fly it up, fly it down through the hole in the roof, fly through the house, lower it down, look underneath the bed, talk to the guy, hey, Abdullah, we see you under the bed, come on out. Come out with your hands up. And then if he shoots it with his AK, grab the next one off my buddy's back, hook the controller, fly it down through the hole, fly it up above the bed, and fire off the 19-gram shape charge on top of the bed. All right, you haven't hurt any other civilians, perfectly fine, perfectly safe. And I'm using hypothetical situation, guys. I'm using that as an example of tactics that are 10 years old already for the U.S. military, let alone, because everybody's like, they started watching this stuff happening in Ukraine, and they're like, oh my God, man, you know, the U.S. ain't ready for all this drones. I'm like, guys, U.S. military's, they're doing drones, okay? Don't relax. But that said, all of you guys that got out 10 years ago, all right, or 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, you didn't use them, did you? No, you didn't. I'm letting you know you can teach an old dog new tricks. And here's a pitch, right? Second half of 2024, you can find the classes at tacticalrifleman.com. We have 2 classes new to the calendar, and one of them is called a Tactical Drone Operator. It is a 2-day-long class. And the other course is called Tactical Drone Defense. That is a 4-day-long course. First 2 days, you learn how to be a tactical drone operator because it's easier for you to defend against something if you know how they work, all right? And those are taught right here in Tennessee, just off the southern edge of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, by Byron Russell, who was the old assaulter team sergeant while I was sniper team sergeant. Byron knows his stuff. He was a professional drone instructor for the company that made the Instant Eye drones for the U.S. military, for U.S. SOCOM. And anyways, he is lead instructor on that course. And it is an awesome course indeed, without a doubt. All right, let's see, guys. I know I'm falling behind. We'll go a little bit longer today. Because I just enjoy hanging out with you guys. I do. This is part of my Christmas too. All right. All right, next one. Did you ever run a M203 with your M4? Maybe not as a sniper. Anyways, did you ever run flechettes in the 40 millimeter? And if so, direct or indirect? We shot what we thought were flechette rounds. They were called beehive rounds, but it turns out they were just buckshot. And they're basically like shooting a 12 gauge buckshot. They were very uneventful. I've never actually shot a flechette round. You understand, we had 40 millimeter rounds. We had two M203s per A team, and we had M79s. But me personally, I was never M70 guy. I played with them a lot in training. I got pictures of me with that 6-shot rotary one. Yeah, that thing's fun. You could, matter of fact, Wick played with one of those on one deployment. You could get a bunch of rounds in the air. I don't know if Wick ever shot it against bad guys. He probably did. Wick's the quiet professional. He really is, guys. You got to get some good stories out of Wick. But me personally, I've never shot a 203 round at a bad guy. Never have. I have shot a flechette round out of a Carl Gustav recoilless cannon, and good googly moogly, whew, it shredded the cardboard E-type target all across the Area 4 Task Force Raptor sniper range. And no big deal, right? No big deal. The funny part, though, was Sergeant Major Erickson. The next day, I was driving my SUV across the sniper range to go check on the guys at the demo pit. And I drive out there, check on my guys, and by the time I come back, I got 2 flat tires. And I'm like, what the hell? And I don't care, I'm Sergeant Major. So I pull it into the bay and I look at the mechanic, I'm like, fix my shit. And he said, Roger that, Sergeant Major. But he comes back in and he dumps these things on my desk. He's like, Sergeant Major, here's your flat tire. And they were and they're the long flechettes from the Carl Gustav recoilless cannon. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. Because they all went through the cardboard target that was only like 30 feet away. But there was 300 more meters of sniper range behind it, including the dirt road that Sergeant Major Erickson drove across 4 or 5 times a day. He had a lot of flat tires to fix that week. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. I love flechette rounds. I do. I've never killed anybody with a flechette round. I'm young. I'm only 56. All right. Big Al, you guys saw our KSG video a couple weeks ago that Big Al did. Big Al's still in the chat room. I know he's giggling right now. I wonder if they're on the desk. No, they're in the man room. Shit, they're on the shelf. I had this, all these different shotgun shells. And we had pepper spray. We had flares. If you look in the video, there's one where a flare bounced off a target. And shit, let's see if I can find. It'd be really, really new. Come on, all the way down. This is a recent picture. Shit, can't be that old. That wasn't that long ago, man. Maybe it was. Shit. Big Al. Come on, surely I kept one of those pictures, Big Al. Maybe I didn't. Anyways, yeah, there it is right there. So Big Al, I'm like, I think this is a blank, but just in case, point it in the safe direction. So he points this thing at my rubber mannequin. Can you guys see all the flechettes sticking out of that guy? I mean, he wore that puppy out. One 12-gauge flechette round. You can buy them off the internet, guys. That's a cool part about gun shows. You go to a gun show, there's all kinds of great shit you'll find at a gun show, including 12-gauge flechette rounds. Yeah, Big Al was giving me shit because he's like, I thought you said that was a blank. I'm like, I thought it was a blank. Nothing came out of it. I'm like, see, it was a blank. Yeah, and then we were looking at the mannequin later. I'm like, oh, snap. Funny stuff. Funny, funny stuff. All right. All right. Let's see that one. I'm trying not to skip any, guys. If I accidentally skip one of yours, please don't get mad at me. All right. Paul American, Carl, when thinking back at all your combat, do you get anxiety of the danger you and your guys faced? and I know you guys are going to say, no, Carl, that just flows off Carl. Carl, shit don't bother Carl. Stuff bothers Carl. It does. Looking at a lot of the pictures with Jamie Christmas Eve, and we're just scrolling through. I'm finding all the funny ones, you know. But every once in a while, I'd hit a picture and I would just go by it, you know. And you think about it. You think about the rocket that hit the wall in Karma, Iraq, outside of Fallujah, and then the Marine lost his arm, and if that rocket had been like 40 feet over, it would have been me eating it instead of him, and to get up the stairs to get my sniper rifle on the roof, I had to run by the hole to go up the stairs, and having that big smoking hole in the wall behind me as I ran by it, you don't feel so exposed as when you run by a hole like that. Yeah, stuff bothers me. It does, guys. It does. But courage is not the absence of fear. Fear keeps you sharp. Courage is facing your fear and saying, it's still got to get done. I got to go. All right. Every time I parachute, and I'm going to parachute again in March with my son. We're going to jump into Normandy in June. All right. Every time I parachute, I'm scared to death. Scared to death. But you've seen the videos of me doing the jump master commands, putting my son and Emery and everybody out that door of that airplane. The smile on my face, you can't get it off. Scared to death. That's hilarious. It's so freaking hilarious that you can scare a grown man that bad. That shit's funny. That shit's funny. All right. Yeah, anxiety does get to you. Gavin Simpkin threw down 5 Australian quid. H. Carl, comma. Have you ever used the grappling gun like I have for trapping roofs faster? I only used it once to see what it was like. I have not, Gavin. I had one for my G.I. Joe when I was, I think, 10, the little spring-loaded grappling gun thing, but I've never used one in real life. David Bobang, Carl, best thermal scope for hog hunting. Thanks for what you do. Armasight's got a bunch of new ones. Dedicated weapon sites you can find at armasight.com. For civilians, they are the best quality on the market right now. There's a lot of companies putting out thermals, but Armasight, and I know a lot of people like ATN. I'm not bashing ATN. It's okay stuff, but Armasight has got the hands down the best stuff. Armasight is coming out with, this one right here is called the Sidekick. I have it mounted on a bridge. This is the thermal right here. It's got my helmet mount. I've got it paired with a PVS-14. I've got a video that's coming up on these. That's why they're paired together. But this one right here, guys, called the Sidekick. And it's lightweight. It weighs a lot less than that PVS-14. All right, PVS-14 over here, Sidekick right here. But they're coming up with another one that is designed to be mounted clip-on in front of your day optics. So in other words, you can put it in front of your EOTech or your red dot, and it allows you to do thermal in the dark. That would be fun for hogs, all right? And you can do digital zoom, all that, but if you're just looking for one for hogs, not to be like carried on your kit tactically, go with a dedicated rifle scope. I have one by Armasight. It's called that's a clip-on, the Apollo, Zeus, the Zeus Pro. And there's one by FLIR that's called the Thermosight Pro. And both of them have identical thermal cameras in them. I got to be honest, the FLIR one has a better on-off switch. But they're both decent. But those are, they're 5 years old, 6 years old. I saw at SHOT Show the ones that Armasight has out now. They are a lot more user-friendly. They've got better cameras on them. You guys see how shiny that lens is on the front? See how it catches the light right there? And that's a small camera, right? That piece of glass right there, that's not glass. It's actually called germanium. And that's a very small camera lens. The larger the camera lens, the more heat. This is a 320 version, very small, but it's $1,000 cheaper than the 640 one that you can get off their website. Full disclosure, they asked me to do a review on it. I said, okay, but I get to keep it when I'm done, right? And they said yes. And so they sent me the 320 instead of the 640. That's okay. That's okay because it's still awesome. Running it bridged, both of them, it's totally badass, guys. It's fun. This thing is fun. So why would you bridge it with PVS 14? So you can drive with it. So you can drive. You can haul ass, look around. What's that out there in the field? Turn the vehicle sideways, put down the window, and look with the thermal. And because thermals can't look through glass, guys. Thermals have advantages on the battlefield, but thermals also have disadvantages. Everything on the battlefield has advantages and disadvantages. That's the truth. There's not a single thing in life that doesn't have disadvantages, all right? Everything that's super awesome, chances are, is too good to be true. Everything's got disadvantages. That's just the truth, guys. That smoking hot Playboy model that y'all love, she still makes ugly faces when she takes a dump. And somewhere out there, there's some guy that's sick of her shit. That's just the truth. Find somebody you love and stay with them. And it'll all work out in the end. All right. Let's see. Next one. Carl, best thermal scope. I just did that one. All right. Matthew Dion. Hey, Carl, what do you recommend for 5.56 for defense from 0 to 600 meters? I've heard some good things about the Barnes 85 grain open tip match traveling at 2690, or is T62 the best? All right. 262 is the gold standard, like you listed. All right. What he's talking about, guys, the Mark 262. Again, and this goes all the way back to 2003, basically. All right. 2002, 2001. Wow. 2001. Yeah, we started using Black Hills Mark 262 back in 2001. What that ammo is that is a 77 grain Sierra Match King. Little longer, heavier projectile, but it's more aerodynamic, better ballistic coefficient. Because it has more weight, it stays stable at distance longer. It drops more, but it stays stable at distance longer as long as you have a longer barrel on the gun, like Steve Holland's Mark 12 SPR, Special Purpose Rifle. It was made with a longer barrel specifically for the Mark 262. That has been the gold standard for long-range, accurate 5.56 forever. Now, there are companies out there that make exotic ammo. Barnes, for example, is famous for great ammo. Matter of fact, the brown tip, you guys hear green tip, you hear orange tip is tracer, black tip is armor piercing, right? You guys hear the different colors, but you hear people talk green tip, green tip. Green tip is M855 ammo, green tip, green tip. But there was time, I was Sergeant Major in Mosul, so that would have been 2009. In Mosul, we were working, A15 was working with a troop from D Squadron of Delta, and we were using brown tip ammo. It was ammo, and they painted a brown tip on it so that you could tell it different from the other ammo. But that was Barnes triple shock projectiles. I don't know who was loading it for them. It came in little brown military boxes at brown tip, and I never shot a human with it. But from what I was told, it performed insanely well inside the human body. Okay. What I know accuracy-wise, my snipers were like, through the SPRs, they're like, it's you shoot a 5-round group. 4 of them are like this, and then you got one that's way out here. Little itty bitty shot group, and then one that's 2 inches away. And they're like, they shoot 5 more. 4 bullets touching, sub-MOA, and then 1 2 inches away. And they're like, and then one of the snipers came in, and he said, Sergeant Major, I fixed the ammo. I know what's wrong with it. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, the brown tip, the Barnes triple shot. I know how to tighten it up. I'm like, okay, what'd you do with the gun? He's like, not the gun. He went to the PX and got a bottle of witch hazel. And guys would use witch hazel to take the stock, the lot numbers off of ammo cans, all right? But he would take the witch hazel and take the brown paint off the end of them. When they were dipping the bullets in the paint would be too thick on one side of the bullet every once in a while, and it would make the bullet fly erratic. By taking the brown paint off of the Barnes triple shock ammo, it made it more accurate. That's the kind of shit you don't see in the movies, guys. You just don't see it. But yeah, Barnes, you specifically mentioned an 80-something grain bullet. I don't have any experience with it at all. That I'd like to try some. Matter of fact, if you've got an extra 40 rounds of Barnes 85 grain open tip match, I'd love to try some. I really would. All right, guys. Let's call it quits on questions. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up tonight, guys. We are, guys. I'm joking. I'm not gonna parachute in March. But I am gonna be current before June. I am jumping with my son in June. I am gonna jump in June, indeed. All right, we're gonna wrap this up tonight. I've had a good time hanging out day after Christmas with you guys, and it has been fun hanging out. Again, I want to thank Venture Surplus for sponsoring tonight's live stream. You know, their motto, guys: Venture brings the Army surplus store to your door. If you're looking for military gear, right? You want that cold weather gear that's mil spec. You can check it out at Venture Surplus. Good stuff indeed. If you're interested in classes, or if you got money from Santa, what am I going to spend it on? What am I going to spend it on? You can go to tacticalrifleman.com and sign up for classes. I've got some great classes coming up. Battle Rifle 1. I've got aerial gunnery. That one is in March, late March. One day shooting from a Little Bird helicopter. Yeah, you don't get more fun than that, guys, right? An entire day shooting from a helicopter. It's going to be a good time. Again, those classes start 20 March in Texas. I come back from there. I got 3 days off, and then we do all the classes again, minus the helicopter here in Tennessee. Classes in April. Then we're in May. We're in North Carolina. We've got a big survival dispatch event out there. Great time, guys. Bunch of great classes. You can check them out in our entire calendar at tacticalrifleman.com. Yeah, let's have us a great time. Let's get out there and train this year. Let's make 2024 the best year ever. Y'all take care and shoot straight.